Hello.
Okay.
Are we filming? Okay. So, today we're going to make pizza, and we are using a 100% whole wheat pizza crust here. Now, there are different varieties available, but this happens to be the only one that I know of that's kosher. So that's the one I'm using. We're also using a jarred pizza sauce, and we're going to put this, about half of this, on the shell. Now, this pizza is homemade, but it's quick as well. We have several ingredients out here on the counter to put on top of it. And you can do this without any kind of cheese substitute, and mostly we do. But once in a while, we're going to put a cheese substitute on it for special occasions. And one of my special occasions is twice a year at finals week. I make a fancier pizza. Okay, so I first put the pizza sauce on. Keep it on there for a second. I forgot to take this out. Now, second thing we're going to put on is about half of these onions, because there's 2 shells in the package. So we're going to put half the onions on it. Now, if you don't like onions, you don't have to put onions on it. Just ignore the one that fell on the floor. I'll get that later. Okay, so about half the onions go on this pizza. And then I have some chopped up mushrooms here, just regular button mushrooms, and about half of those, half of what I have here, about 8 ounces of mushrooms is going to go on this. And you can get the canned variety, which is what this is. Okay, so we spread it around and leave half of it for the next one. And continue on. Now, I also like to put peppers and onions, and we have some peppers and onion strips here that are in the freezer, which makes it a little bit easier. We have another bag in there as well, which I'll open for the second pizza, but this should do for the first, I hope. Okay. Possibly not. Possibly I will need more. But we'll see. The only problem with the frozen peppers and onions is they're very cold. But I like to put as much veg on my pizza as I can. You can put other things on your pizza if you like. But these are my favorite toppings. Hold on a second while I get the other peppers and onion strips, if I can find them. Okay. And here they are. And these are just Hanover peppers and onion strips. Frozen. And yes, I know we already put onion in it, but I like to put peppers and onions, so we do a little bit of both, the fresh onion and the frozen, and that gives us some peppers as well. Okay. Now we'll put this aside back in the freezer for the next pizza. Now we already have onions and mushrooms, so this is fairly much a deluxe veggie pizza. But we're going to make this one extra fancy. What we have here is some veggie salami. This is made not with textured vegetable protein, but with tofu. And it has a nice flavor to it. And we're going to use this as a substitute for what most people would put pepperoni on their pizza. So we're going to use half of this on each pizza. I'm just going to cut it up into little strips here. And I'm going to put half of it on the pizza. And again, this is made out of vegetable protein. It's made out of tofu. And this is obviously, unlike last time, my last recipe was gluten-free. This one is not going to be gluten-free due to the bread and due to the topping I'm putting on. But you could make a gluten-free pizza if you wanted. They do have rice crust available. And then you would just leave this off. Okay, so we're going to make this, like I said, a deluxe pizza. And it's not hard to make, as you can tell. I'm just kind of spreading this around so that every piece has several bites of the veggie salami, which will give it a pepperoni type flavor. They also have veggie pepperoni. We just happen to have this on hand because we used it on Shabbos as at our lunch. So, and since we had an extra deluxe kiddush, we didn't have that big of a lunch. We had a lot left over. Okay, so that's it. Now we're going to put this. Now this is for those of you who are trying to transition away from cheese. Either you're lactose intolerant or you're trying to transition away from cheese for other health reasons. Now this is not an E2 approved product. Everything else here is healthy. This is not an E2 approved product. However, like I said, I only use it for special occasions, and it'll give you a nice cheesy flavor. We're going to only use part of this on there. Now I actually cut the block of cheese that came with it in half. Half of it's already been shredded and put in the freezer, and the other half is shredded is in here, and I'm going to put about half of the remainder on here so that we get a quarter of the cheese on each one. We're actually going to be making 2 pieces of pizza. Now when this is done, it's going to cook in the oven for 10 minutes on 400 degrees, 425 degrees. You preheat the oven to 450, and then you lower it right when you put it down to 425, and then it cooks for 10 minutes, and then we use a kitchen scissors to cut it into pieces. And it's really delicious. It's really good. If I knew how to pause the recording, we would get a vision of it coming out. But we're going to put this in. Again, we're going to put it on for 10 minutes, and that's it. Turn it off.